One of the things that was different in this mission was there was a term that was translated all the time called standing debris. It was the buildings that were no longer habitable. They were still standing. They had very visible cracks, and you could see that they were sort of delicately being held together by whatever's left in them. And they were all marked with a Chinese character for danger. So you'd see all of these empty buildings, like tons and tons of empty buildings, with people trying to continue life just outside the buildings. So where a shop used to be inside the building and people lived in the upper levels, they were out on the street in front of their building, which is still a dangerous place to be, especially with all of this standing debris. And that was what we would see in the town centers. We looked at 3 different provinces. We looked at Sichuan, we looked at Gansu, and we also looked at Shanxi. Sichuan is the most affected area. And the people that were most affected in our assessment areas they had a slightly higher standard of living. They owned their home on a small piece of land. They farmed for subsistence, and they had the opportunity to make more money in factories. So they were more dependent on the local economy than people that were affected in Gansu and Shanxi. In those places, the people who were most affected were the people in the rural areas, where they literally just lived off of the land. In China, it was different, that it was very difficult to get people to talk about anything except their home. The home was really important to people in the villages, and it was the only thing that they would talk about. They really wanted to just rebuild their home as soon as possible. The next steps would be supporting the Chinese Red Cross in their mission to help rebuild homes for families, as well as supporting some parts of infrastructure that need to be rebuilt at the village level. For example, some schools that are in more rural areas don't have as much support as schools in the townships that have been affected. So some of the national societies have expressed interest in supporting that, as well as clinics in the more rural areas are very makeshift right now, and there isn't a short-term plan to sort of support them so that they can provide better medical care. So clinics, schools, and then most importantly family homes, permanent family homes that are earthquake resistant.